Everyone, welcome to the Sierra Madre City Council meeting. Madam City Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Jean Goss.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Edward Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Rachel Arizmendi.
Present.
Councilmember Kelly Creeps.
Here.
And Mr. Mayor, I believe Councilmember Robert Parkhurst is excused for this evening.
That is correct.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Okay, I get to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the inspiration. Please join me. Stand if you can. Face the flag. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. So it is a new year, and we all want to try to be as positive and forward-thinking as possible in the first week of the new year. In that vein, I've collected a number of positive quotes from famous people about beginning New Year's or about the importance of change and positive change. So I'll share a few of those with you before we get going tonight. From Lila Gifty Akita. Cheers to a gracious new year. May we uphold the fullness of God's grace, goodness, and goodwill. From C.S. Lewis. There are better things ahead than any we leave behind. From Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world. From Albert Einstein. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. From Socrates. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Maya Angelou. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Benjamin Franklin. Be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let every new year find you a better person. From Anne Frank. What a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't even happened yet. And from ethicist Michael Josephson. Approach the new year with resolve to find opportunities hidden in each new day. And on that note, we will turn our attention to tonight's agenda. And having said that, I'd like to see if anyone has any ideas for modifying the agenda. If not, I'll accept a motion for approval.
So move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And for the, reading resolutions and ordinances. I'm not quite sure how to do this. So should I seek a motion for this? I'll just seek a motion for approval for reading resolutions and ordinances.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And approval of meeting minutes for December 14th, 2021. I'm good with mine. Any moves, any changes? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
I move to approve.
Is there a second? We have a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, mayor and city council reports. Who'd like to go first?
Of things. I had the pleasure to attend the senior holiday luncheon just before Christmas. It was actually the same day as the city employee lunch, and it was a lovely event at the Hart House. And the portion of the program that I attended was great because the commissioners were giving great thanks and recognition to the amazing community services staff and all of their efforts with the Senior Commission and other things, but particularly with respect to the food program that they were able to maintain during the pandemic, even when they lost their food source. So really great to hear the Senior Commission talk about all of our activities, but particularly in recognizing the staff and all of the work that they've put into successful activities with the Senior Commission. So also happy to attend the city employee luncheon. That was lovely. Got to hear the award winners of the various service awards. It was just really great to see the employees and the staff be able to get together and have some fun outdoors and have a nice luncheon. And lastly, I would say I spoke with the Chamber of Commerce, and they are full speed ahead on a Wisteria Festival this year. They are planning it on March 27th, and so they are very excited about bringing that back. So,
Very cool. Thank you.
No report.
I just very briefly was at that same luncheon with Councilmember Krebs and for our employees, and it was just a lot of fun. It was great to be with them and to see them get rewarded for their hard work and their dedication. And we also got to eat pie and burgers, so how are you going to lose on that? So, okay, so what's next on the agenda? I guess we're looking at, we're skipping presentations. We had presentations on our earlier agenda, but we decided to try to move forth the meeting a little more quickly without as many people in the room owing to the issues pertaining to Omicron. So we will bring presentations back at some point in the future. So that leads us to public comment on items that are not on the agenda. You have 3 minutes to make your comment, and let's see if there's anybody willing to do that tonight. Doesn't look like it, but Madam City Clerk, I believe you have some comments.
Yes, Mayor, the city clerk's office received comments from Councilmember Parkhurst for, to be read in public. One of the comments for items not on the agenda reads, Mayor, City Council colleagues, and fellow Sierra Madrians, I apologize for not attending this evening's City Council meeting. For the safety of my family and our community, I have made the very difficult decision not to attend tonight. I will, however, be watching the meeting virtually. While it does not provide for the interactive dialogue that I find extremely valuable during our meetings, I have provided brief comments for items on our agenda this evening. It is my hope that these comments will be read at the meeting and help inform the discussion. The city also received 2 additional comments for items not on the agenda. The second comment received was from Rick Simpson, and it reads, don't ruin Sierra Madre with the meadows at Bailey Canyon Development. The third and final email for items not on the agenda was received from Diane Cohn. And Ms. Cohn's email reads, I am a mom in Sierra Madre. I live several blocks from the elementary school, and I often ride my bike there and around town. It's one of the perks of living in this beautiful place. I have noticed that biking past the elementary school during start and stop times is really difficult, which concerns me because my son would like to bike to the middle school when he attends. Other parents have witnessed an increase in car traffic since the bus stops went away. One family even disallowed their son to continue riding his bike to school because of the new traffic. My focus was on getting the bus stops back until I was nearly run over as I turned into the street where I live from Grandview. I was biking home from the elementary school. A parked car on my right meant I had to take up the whole lane for a few yards before my left turn. I signaled that I would be turning left, and as I began my turn, the big red vehicle that had been behind me screeched into oncoming traffic lane, the one I was crossing. I had to stop suddenly to avoid being hit. This man was enraged because he had to go slow behind me for a few yards. If Grandview had a protected bike lane, I would not have allowed this road rage person down. I would not have slowed this road rage person down. I would not have almost been killed. We should allow parking only on the south side of the street on Grandview in order to create a protective westbound bike lane for our community and kids, one where they don't have to swerve into traffic to go around a parked car. Let's limit parking on Highland to only the north side of the street to create a protected eastbound bike lane. On my short 4-block ride from the school, I passed 2 other cyclists. People love to ride bikes in Sierra Madre. By making riding safer, we also cut down on school drop-off and pick-up car traffic. Every car is a danger to children crossing. Every father pulling his child in a bike tag-along is not. Imagine if we closed off Grandview to car traffic during school commute times, creating a daily cyclavia for our families. I suggest this to illustrate that any change we make will only encourage pass-through car traffic to use Sierra Madre Boulevard, which gives them the option to stop and shop. Grandview is used by people who live in neighboring towns to speed through our city quickly, which does not benefit us and is a danger that will only grow worse. Grandview is a neighborhood street where families live. While we consider ways to make our citizens on bikes safe, remember that slowing traffic down on Grandview is a good thing. Thank you for reading this aloud for me. I am not currently able to attend meetings due to COVID protocols, but please reach out to me if I can help via phone or Zoom.
Thank you, Madam.
Those were the 3 comments. Mayor, moving forward in future council meetings, city staff will be receiving public comment emails and uploading them onto the city's website. In fact, these 2 of these emailed messages that were received were uploaded to the city's website. And so that'll help with public transparency so that the public can view the public emails and they won't be read at council meetings going forward.
That will help facilitate our meetings. So that's a good move. Okay, that brings us to our consent agenda. And I believe you're gonna go over that for us, Madam City Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, before the City Council are 4 consent items for consideration of approval. Consent item A is consideration of Resolution 22-01 approving certain demands. It is recommended that the City Council approve Sierra Madre City Council Resolution 22-01 approving payment of city warrants in the aggregate amount of $663,957.20. Sierra Madre Library warrants in the aggregate amount of $15,029.50, and payroll transfer in the aggregate amount of $1,051,733.76 for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. Consent item B is consideration of purchase of a portable sewer pipeline camera inspection system, and it is recommended that the City Council award Municipal Maintenance Equipment, MME, a purchase agreement for the purchase of the Roush USA Pipe Mobile Pro CCTV sewer inspection system with Pro software not to exceed $92,960.15. Consent item C is consideration of a memorandum of understanding for the Task Force for Regional Auto Theft Prevention, TRAP. It is recommended that the City Council authorize the City Manager to enter into the memorandum of understanding and the corresponding funding agreement for the Task Force for Regional Auto Theft Prevention. And lastly is consent item D, consideration of City Council liaison appointments and consideration of resolutions 22-02, 22-03, and 22-04 relating to the appointments of Los Angeles County Sanitation District, San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and the League of California Cities respectively. That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Let's just go through these one at a time, see if there are anyone wants to raise any questions on the council. Item A. Item B.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I know oftentimes with items of this amount, there is a contingency built in, so it doesn't have to come back to us in case there's some kind of small change order. So I don't know if that's necessary here or normal protocol, or if something comes up that needs to be in this van that costs a little bit more, what are we gonna do?
Mayor Pro Tem, so the bid amount is under the budgeted amount. We don't foresee any change orders with this purchase. This equipment will be mounted in a surplus ambulance, and staff has already identified that it's a good fit for this camera, so we don't anticipate any change orders.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to the fire department for keeping it in such nice working order that can be repurposed.
Here.
Just one follow-up on that. So the way I read the consent item is this is the consent to approve the purchase of the equipment itself, but that the expenditure for the retrofitting of the repurposed vehicle was actually something on top of this $92,000, correct?
Councilmember Creeps, so there is going to be a small amount of funding needed to purchase inverter. I believe that we have a generator. With the budgeted amount, we anticipate that we will be able to cover the full process of retrofitting the vehicle.
Any other questions on B? Item C.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I know we have Captain Amos here, who could probably speak to this, but maybe just for the benefit of the public, just to give a high-level overview as to what this is and to the benefit it has to our city.
Okay. Captain Amos?
Good evening. So the Regional All Theft Task Force is it's a regional task force to combat vehicle theft and vehicle break-ins. It's been around for a number of years. It's overseen by the Sheriff Department, and then local municipal agencies are allowed to have investigators be a part of the team. They, like I said, they combat vehicle theft, they combat high-level vehicle theft organizations. And what that benefits the city here is that for the majority of our crimes here, it's mainly vehicle thefts, vehicle break-ins, residential break-ins, and stolen vehicles. So the task force will be able to assist in eliminating or bringing that down by bringing in resources to the city, and if we have spikes. Also, they do a lot of community outreach, so they'll be at some of our community events, presenting information, and that's kind of what the program does.
Thank you, Captain. Appreciate it. Any other questions on C?
Yes, actually, follow up. I mean, maybe
Councilmember Reeves.
Captain Amos.
Yes, ma'am.
My understanding was that one of the most attractive features of this program was that the organization actually reimburses our department for staff that are assigned to this task force. Is that correct?
Yes, as part of the task force, which there are multiple task forces statewide, there is a percentage that's taken through vehicle registration. That in turn is returned to the overseeing agency, for which would be Los Angeles County Sheriff Department. And then for our personnel, the majority of the cost is reimbursed to the city for the personnel for the personnel hours worked. There are some costs that will not be covered, but the majority of the costs are reimbursed.
And is it the department's plan to assign a currently employed staff person to be part of this task force, or is the plan to actually recruit for a new staff person?
No, the individual that will be assigned to the task force will be one of our tenured officers. There's some criteria, obviously. We want somebody that's passed their probationary period, that's been on a while, not for a while, but been on for a while, has a little of experience, because the team is a highly skilled team, so we don't want a brand new officer going there. So we are currently, the department is currently interviewing our staff, and from that we will choose someone to be a part of the team. When they go there, they will be there for an assignment of about 2 to 3 years, and then towards the end of the 2 or 3 year period, we will have an opportunity for another employee to go there. If no one puts in for it, the individual that is there can reapply to do another 2 or 3 year term.
Any other questions for Captain Amos? Thank you, Captain. And item D. I know we have a public comment on item D, so should we go ahead and go to public comment and we'll get that comment? Does anyone here like to comment on this, any of the items on the consent agenda? Please come to the podium. Seeing none, Madam City Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Parkhurst submitted his comments related to consent item 1D. His comments read, regarding the liaison appointments, he is recommending that we have a city council member as the alternate delegate for the Clean Power Alliance. The purchase of renewable, reliable electricity for our residents is a critical part of our infrastructure, like our sewer, roads, and water. The city has greatly benefited from our membership in the Clean Power Alliance. We get high-quality, low renewable energy at a very competitive cost. In addition, we are helping to create regional jobs, and through educational grants, we are building the next generation of the clean technology workforce. Such a critical part of our infrastructure warrants an alternate from the council. While I am honored to be nominated and am eager to continue to serve as a delegate to the Clean Power Alliance, our city would be well served with a member of the city council as the alternate. I recognize that we are all delegates or alternates on more than one board or association, many of them with multiple meetings every month. If it would be helpful, I would be willing to become an alternate of another board or association to make it easier for us to have another council member on the CPA. And that concludes Councilmember Parkhurst's comments.
Okay. So we'll bring it back to the council. I have some comments myself about this. First, I wanted to thank all of you for your cooperation in getting this done. It's kind of a Rubik's Cube of trying to find the right fit here and there, and particularly Councilmember Creeves for taking on the Planning Commission. I'm very deeply appreciative of that time commitment she's made. But all these have some sort of responsibility or time commitment attached to them. And so when I put this together last year, we've been using a staff member as our alternate. I believe it was Management Analyst Carlson, is that correct? Yeah. And so I thought, well, I might as well just, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I do believe, out of respect to my colleague, Councilmember Parkhurst, that he has a very, very valid point that I think optimally it would be nice if we could have a council person in that as an alternate to him. But I certainly didn't find, I wasn't comfortable in assigning that after I'd already filled everybody's dance cards up. So I'd like to see if there's any discussion on this, and if so, if there may be a volunteer up here who would like to take him up on this.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
So I
Councilmember
spoke
Creeves.
with Councilmember Parkhurst earlier today, and he made the same pitch similar to what was in his public comment, and I'm happy to serve as the alternate. I mean, he and I
Okay.
discussed what he thought that role would entail, and I thought that would be sustainable.
Okay. All right, I think that solves our problem. So we will pencil in Councilmember Creeves into the alternate spot as a modification to this agenda item for Clean Power Alliance. Everything else stays the same. All right. So let's vote on the consent agenda as a package, A through D. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved with the modification of adding Councilmember Creeves as alternate on the liaison.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do we need any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I know that Councilmember Parkhurst is watching, and I just wanted to thank him for his concern about these things. Okay, and that brings us to our one and only discussion item tonight, which is pretty straightforward. It has to do with the dispensation of our meetings in the next 30 days. Is there a staff report on this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The City Council's consideration of this item comes as the Omicron surge is raging through the county. As you may remember, the City Council, this body, went to remote meetings in 2020, and that was accomplished via the governor's executive order. At the time, the governor had waived certain requirements of the Brown Act related to teleconferencing for the purpose of public bodies meeting remotely. On September 30th, 2021, the governor rescinded that executive order, and so that's no longer in effect. But in its stead, the legislature adopted AB 361, which makes a number of amendments to the Brown Act. One such amendment is that this body can meet in a hybrid or fully remote setting on the condition that they adopt a resolution once every 30 days to authorize meeting in that way. And in order to adopt that resolution, there need to be certain findings made in the resolution, among them being that there is physical distancing is necessary, and that the public health officers have issued a state of emergency, and all these findings are made in the resolution before you. So if the city council chooses to adopt this resolution, then at future meetings, individual city council members can choose not to participate, but can still be counted toward quorum if they participate remotely. But other council members can remain present in the room. So that's the hybrid setting. The fully remote setting is no one shows up to the city council chambers, and the entire meeting is conducted via Zoom, which was how it was done in the past. This also gives members of the public the opportunity to participate remotely as well. So the city will have to provide some either Zoom or a telephone number by which members of the public can provide live public comment to the city council. And that concludes my report.
Any questions? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a
Councilmember
couple of
Rosenberg.
questions. Thank you. Thank you for the report, City Attorney. Two questions I had is one, I'm sure many of us sit on legislative bodies where you have to do this every 30 days, which is crazy. But we are hearing that there potentially could be a change in that. So one, I wanted to hear if you have heard anything where this might be modified so it's not every 30 days. And secondly, I also know that I sit on some legislative bodies where it includes any advisories or commissions, and I want to make sure that this resolution also allows for our commissions to meet virtually if necessary.
So to take those in order, Councilmember, I'm not aware of any proposed amendment. So I think for the time being, it's going to remain 30 days. As to your second question, this does apply to all commissions of the city. So individual commissions don't need to adopt any kind of resolution authorizing this. Once the city council adopts it, it applies to every single commission of the city as well.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Krebs.
So the resolution provides for either hybrid or fully teleconference meetings. So protocol-wise, would you advise that we decide that on a meeting-by-meeting basis, decide that for the next 30 days? And then my sort of a related question is, you outlined that the hybrid would allow for members of the council to attend or not attend, or attend rather by remotely. What is the situation for the public? Is that all remote, or do they also have the same choice in a hybrid meeting?
So I'll try to take those in turn as well. So your first question was, can you remind me again?
Oh yeah, so the resolution that we've been presented with provides the optionality of hybrid
remote and hybrid.
or fully Zoom. I would hope that we just decide today what to do going forward for the next 30 days and not, either hybrid or fully remote, and not vacillate. But this obviously allows us the opportunity to do that.
So the city council can make that determination today. My recommendation would be to authorize the city manager to take that meeting by meeting with input from the city council members. I think because the Omicron situation is evolving, we really don't know what the public health officer is going to do. If the county public health officer says we can't meet anymore, then the public county health officer will have made that decision for us. And I think the only one that can act swiftly enough is probably our city manager. So I recommend we authorize the city manager to make that determination for the council meetings. As to your second question regarding members of the public, as I understand it, I don't think if we do hybrid meetings, I don't think we intend to close City Hall to members of the public. So I think members of the public can also be physically present, or they can participate using either a phone line or some kind of Zoom line. I think the city staff, I'm not sure if the city manager has made a determination regarding which method.
Thank you. Councilmember Krebs, so we have done Zoom meetings in the past, and we understand the challenges, and we're prepared to move in that direction. The hybrid does present some challenges that staff is trying to mitigate through now. And as of right now, that is going to be a challenge, and we could move forward with the Zoom. And we are working towards trying to mitigate some of those challenges with the hybrid.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll turn this over to public comment and see if we get any takers. Hearing none, I think we have one more.
Yeah.
Madam City Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, there was a submission from Councilmember Parkhurst that he has to have read aloud this evening. And it reads that I am in strong support of Resolution 22-05. The rate of COVID cases in Los Angeles County has increased more than 60% in just the last 5 days. Hospitalizations are up more than 50% over the same period. And according to epidemiologists, the situation in other countries, the increase in infections is expected to continue for the next several weeks. Right now, Southern California has the highest percentage increase in hospital patients testing positive for COVID. Furthermore, there has been a 35% increase in intensive care patients in the state in just the past 7 days. The increase in infections and hospitalizations makes participation in city council meetings difficult for many Sierra Madrians. Just one example of the challenge for residents is the comment we received from Diana Cohn, who stated that she is not currently able to attend meetings due to COVID protocols. While she can participate by submitting comments and watching the meeting online, it's not the same as being able to participate remotely. City council meetings are a challenge in the best conditions. As we saw last year, hybrid and fully remote meetings are even more challenging. Nevertheless, for the health of our community and to prevent the burnout of our nurses and to shorten the duration of this pandemic, I recommend that we support Resolution 22-05 to give us the option to have hybrid and fully remote meetings for the 30 days. At that time, we should reevaluate the impact of the pandemic and consider renewing the resolution for another 30 days. That concludes Councilmember Parker's comments.
Okay, and that concludes public comment as well, so I'll bring it back up here to my colleagues. Let me just kind of start it off by saying I'm obviously willing to go either way, whatever you guys want to do. I personally believe that we ought to give as many options to our public as possible. I'd like to personally offer them the hybrid version if we can pull it off, if we can pull it off, because I feel like some people just flat out are okay with coming to these meetings and some people are just flat out not. But that's where I'm coming from, and I think a lot of that, even if we were to agree to that, it's going to come down to our technological capabilities. Who else has some thoughts on this?
Mr. Mayor, there is one comment card from a member of the public.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Hood, Gary Hood.
Good evening, Honorable Council. Gary Hood, North Baldwin. And I had basically come to the meeting tonight to hear a presentation about the fire department. And then I heard some comments about reading public comments and not reading them at the meetings, but then posting them, I think further distances the community, because the last time I read, more than 50% of the community are senior citizens, of the voting community, are senior citizens. And I don't think, and I can speak for myself, the senior citizens are all that up on all the electronics. So I think that by not reading public comments at the city council meeting, you're losing contact with a pretty good portion of the voting community. So I would like to see you reconsider that and know that a lot of people, they can turn on the TV and watch it, but not everybody's on their computers and reading what's going on. And there's a lot of stuff to read during the day anyway. So if there's a lot of letters to read, I don't know how much of the public's gonna read them, but that was my comment, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hood. So back to the issue at hand,
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Arizmendi.
I just think it's good practice to have this in place, whether we decide to do it and evaluate it on a regular basis or every week or 2 weeks, to have the option to have the meeting remote or hybrid, if that happens, I think is just good practice for us to have in place. So I'm supportive approving this.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, I'm in agreement with your comments. If we can pull off hybrid, I think that would be best, because we do have members of the public that would like to attend, and that's their mode of communicating to us rather than doing it virtually. And we know there's a delay with the TV and Zoom, and sometimes that becomes problematic. So every possible way we can keep the community engaged, I think is very important. So I would, yes, also push for hybrid, but I do see its limitations due to that. I'll be here if I need to be, and echo what Councilmember Arizmendi said as well. I think these are good options to have something in place quickly in case we need to ever shift to hybrid or remote again.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Krebs.
I generally agree. I would say that I'm somewhat wary of the hybrid only because I would hate to take the position of allowing for maximum flexibility, but then in actuality have the technology be such that people in chambers can't hear comments over Zoom and vice versa, and so which in many ways would actually be more limiting than just picking one versus the other. So again, I know it's then dependent on the technology, and so I just want to make sure that we're confident that it's going to actually provide for the interaction that we would want, one way or the other. But I agree. I mean, especially because it allows for a full quorum. I would hate to have a situation where one or more of us couldn't attend for health reasons, and then we don't have a quorum and can't take action. So I do think it's important to have the contingency plan so that we can continue to, maintain and, conduct city business.
Okay, so any other comments?
So this might be a question for the city attorney, but I think we can still get a quorum in a hybrid scenario if a council member is not present physically, but they could be present electronically.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah.
which is, that's what I meant.
Okay.
By adopting this, we would allow for that.
Okay.
Whereas if tonight, for example, multiple of us couldn't attend, we wouldn't have quorum.
Sorry,
Yeah.
misunderstood.
Right. I, as like you, would be at these meetings if they were hybridized, but I totally get it if, respect people who choose otherwise, totally get that. So do you need us to take a formal vote? Do we need to give you, okay. So, let's vote on it the way it's written and see if we have a motion for approval.
This is a motion to approve Resolution 22-05.
I move to approve Resolution -2205.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. And the ayes have it unanimously. Okay? And that concludes our agenda. Are there any ideas for coming agendas in the future?
No, but can I ask a follow-up question?
Certainly.
Procedurally, so in terms of what the next steps would be with respect to the scheduling resolution that we just passed, Mr. City Manager, before each commission meeting and each council meeting, what is sort of the procedure that you see in terms of informing the public and, the council members or the commission members as to what the procedure will be?
I'm glad you asked that.
Councilmember Creep, so there's very specific guidelines for taking the meetings virtual. Our communications team is already working on putting the communication out on our social media platform, the website, and posting it at all the relevant places. And each department head is also going to be working with their commissions to inform them and schedule those meetings and get them noticed properly. I'm also going to work with staff to try to mitigate the challenges with hybrid, and we will make that determination probably within a week and notify council of if that's possible, and if not, we will go to the full virtual meetings and notify properly as well.
For example, there's a senior commission meeting on Thursday.
I believe that staff has already contacted, and if it hasn't been notified properly, then it will probably be an in-person meeting.
Any other questions?
Sorry, just hypothetically though, because this resolution passed, it's effective right away, and if need be, the senior commission can go to all virtual if, again, properly notified and if they agree to it, right? Because this is in effect right away.
Yes, we can always renotice the meeting. Generally, the Brown Act limits us to a 3-day notice period, but when circumstances arise that are outside the control of the body and happen after the 3-day period, then we can always renotice that. So that's also options available to us.
Great. Okay, so we're back to where we were. Are there any other ideas for future agendas? Hearing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous decision. We are adjourned, folks. Thank you for coming tonight.